We move on to match that happened on Monday night. Poland 1, Scotland 2. Another victory for Scotland so soon after the last one, Vish. They avoided a fourth-place finish and automatic relegation, so they earned that relegation playoff. So the great victory for Scotland is that they get 2 more Nations League games.
So, getting a genie and wishing for more wishes, isn't it?
It is a little bit like that. And I'm sure by then you will be convinced that this is a fantastic tournament. You've just got to give your way for credit where credit's due. We seldom
that's
give
a good
them...
point. That is a good point.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you've always been on the side of the federations and you're vindicated, and that's fine.
Yeah, I knew it would eventually get there.
You just want to do a draw, don't you?
I want a 205-team World Cup.
And then I have to pay you extra because you can moonlight from your match of the day gig to do the draw. With Pitbull.
There you go, you see.
There you go.
There we are. Every half-time show. No, go on.
Were Scotland very lucky? Yes. Do they care? No. This is actually a question, though, that I don't think I can answer. Does it feel like Steve Clarke is allowing them to take more risks? Because I think a lot of the chances that Poland had, particularly in the first half...
Well, people doing mad lofted passes across their own.
Yeah, sort of.
It was much more open. They had to go for it. When you said Scotland were lucky, I think maybe one or two people might take umbrage with that, because you could say Poland at times were very lucky as well. It was just an open end-to-end game. Very enjoyable.
It was like, I had it on in the background when I was doing something else, and I was like, fuck, I just couldn't take my eyes off. It was great.
Yeah.
It was more that Poland's chances in the first half, particularly for Swiderski, were one-on-ones that he missed. And, obviously, Gilmour hits the bar and...
that was a piece.
McTominay hit the post, and there was.
You got Craig Gordon back there. What are you worried about? Play to your strengths.
The save he made low to his right. When I think the commentator was almost intimating that he was showing him the near post. But the way he went down was like, I played football last night and it felt like the way I got up out of bed this morning. There's a lot of creaking there. But, I mean, he did brilliantly. Yeah, you're absolutely right to say that. But, I mean, the limbs when Robertson gets that winner was... just wonderful.
Reminiscent of the winner he got for Liverpool at Villa Park in a 2-1 win.
Because of the run he...
in their I think that was their league-winning season, that campaign.
Yeah, because the run he makes, he continues after scoring the goal into the celebration.
With an attending defender and just getting something
attending
on it. An attending defender. I thought that if Harry Wilson's will goal was a sort of chip shot onto the green, I thought McGinn's was like a putt.
Yeah.
It was just slow, kind of like, I'm just going to plop that here. Even if the keeper takes 2 steps to his left, he's not going to be able to get it.
No, and Piatowski's goal was a Bryson DeChambeau 400-yard drive, wasn't it?
Oh, that was an absolute beauty.
What way to score your first goal?
I know.
Incredible.
That's one of those goals where it goes in and everyone in the home section immediately thinks, well, we're going to go on now, because if that doesn't inspire us to victory, I don't know what does. So actually, Scotland did pretty well to sort of weather it or whatever you want to say. John McGinn now is the 5th highest scorer in Scotland's history, I should say. He's only 10 goals off Dennis Law and Kenny Dalglish at the top.
Jokes.
Hey, I mean, they've scored 4 against Poland over 2 legs. They've played Poland every week.
Well,
They'll be all right.
I reckon surely, put him up front and get, played... I'm not going to name him Minnow because San Marino just got promoted. That would be unfair on them.
See, if this was Cristiano Ronaldo, he would be going to the FA, right, can we have a friendly with Q8?
Yes, please, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
well, had Portugal not arrested Cristiano Ronaldo and kept the integrity of the competition, then maybe they would have won and beaten Croatia, which would have helped Scotland.
Yeah, true.
Funnily enough, even though Portugal didn't need to win that, there is quite a degree of annoyance with the way that Roberto Martinez managed that game.
Why?
Right.
Well, A, because he didn't win it. B, because he didn't try quite enough of the young players. There's this young sporting player who Giovanni Kenda, who would have been the youngest international in Portuguese history, supplanting Paulo Futre, who everyone was expected to play. Who Ruben Amorim's interested in signing for Manchester United, actually. And they didn't bring him on, and the people are frothing about that. So all the stuff that people were annoyed about Martinez with Ronaldo in the World Cup, slight twist on that is why people in Portugal are annoyed with him right now this week.
Yeah.
Right. Did you see what's happening with that Zalewski? Who, whenever I've seen him play, on the rare occasions I have, he's been absolutely amazing. Such a direct dribbler of the ball, and he's and he's not getting his game or as many games as he should do for Roma.
Well, with your
he's winding down his contract.
With your digital capabilities, I'm sure Roma would love you to make one of those sort of player reels on. Zawewski, best player ever, with like some banging Euro techno on it or whatever.
He saves it for the live show.
Yeah, I am available for contract.
You certainly
But is he going to go to Turkey or is he going to end up in the Premier League, Andy?
Come on, Andy.
Some mugs will bite him. There's a reason he's not in the Roma 11.
Right. Yeah. Is it because he was taking pictures with Cristiano Ronaldo at the end of that one?
Oh dear. Well, yeah. So Croatia obviously getting that point against Portugal meant that they finished second. But Scotland, I think all things considered, they'll probably be happy with third, considering they were. Had 0 points after the first 3 games and then ended with 7. Of course, Steve Clarke's son celebrated the result on X, saying, "Scotland still the bollocks. The old man just does not stop proving pricks wrong." A lot of bollocks and pricks in that.
I'll rate that. Stick up for your dad. That's brilliant.
It is good.
Not made the move to Blue Sky yet.
Well, if he's coming out with stuff like that, then he's probably...
Maybe that's a spectacular...
It's a tartan sky, that's what it is.
Spectacular final tweet. Have you thought at all about your last tweet before you leave X?
Oh, right, yeah. Lovely.
Andy?
I told you I was ill.
You know what? I'm not leaving.
I saw a tweet do the rounds the other day about trying to, this user saying that trying to get me to Blue Sky is like trying to move your nan into like a retirement home. I am dying in this house. That's very much Marcus and X.
You can't get up the stairs, Marcus. I do not care.
Yeah.
I'll piss in the corner.
Oh dear. But it's not all good news though for Scotland, because they will be in pot 3 for World Cup qualifying, because the Czechs and the Slovakians won their games.
Checks and the balances.
They did. The two that used to form a country together, those two sides, they won
Uniting
shut out the
Scots. Scotland. Yeah.
Well, very much on their individual merits, we should say. So Scotland will be in pot 3 for World Cup qualifying, which is not great. Now, obviously, they'll have confidence that they can beat any side. Well, any side, but certainly any side in pot 2.
In the Poland region.
That's right.
Who have been shit forever. We shit in Qatar, shit in the last tournament, and shit now.
Exactly. So let's hope they get them from pot 2. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
5 Polands.
It's odd. I mean, England used to play Poland all the time in qualifying. I'd like to get that back if we can. Yeah. But so Scotland. So it's a shame for them. They're in pot 3. But they have made that playoff in the Nations League, as we say. So they will play either Ukraine, Greece, Austria, or Turkey in that relegation playoff. Who would you want from that? Because the Greeks showed something against England. We saw if Austria's still got Rangnick in charge, they're full of running, aren't they?
Sort of hope for an Austrian off day, I suppose, with that one.
Yes, an Austrian off day.
An Austrian off day.
I don't know, Andy. If you were a Scotland fan, who would you be wanting from those 4?
Maybe Turkey or Ukraine.
Oh, right, so you're not that fussed by Turkey animo?
No, I
changed the tune.
Got off them, have you?
Not going there for a while.
They have just had a really bad week, so I wouldn't want to judge them particularly on that. Montella obviously is under an enormous amount of pressure, obviously, because Roma tried to sign him at the beginning of the week, and then they had 2 bad results subsequently to that, and especially the second one in Montenegro he's been blamed for. Ukraine have talent but are very, very inconsistent. Yeah. So, for perhaps obvious reasons. So, I think Turkey's lack of a main centre forward is, I guess you could say they were more highfalutin Scotland, if you like.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How about that? All right, everybody, coming up after this San Marino win again, and Algeria are unofficial world champions.
Go around the Premier League and ask all of the Premier League managers, do you play the looky-likey game? And if they give you a boring answer, we'll drive down and we'll slap them with a wet fish.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Come on, San Marino won again.
What's going on?
They beat Liechtenstein 3-1 on Monday. Back-to-back wins against Liechtenstein. Their first ever away win from home, of course. And that means that they earn promotion to Nations League Group C.
Hang on, there was a D. What?
If you looked at it a little bit, if you scrolled down,
wow.
if you clicked Click here for more.
Click here for more,
And
yeah.
you would have got that. The question is, how shit are Liechtenstein?
Well, yeah, I mean...
They thought, hey, come back to us. Yeah, we'll see.
I just don't understand, where's this come from, Marcus? Because they couldn't buy a win for their entire history.
This is the beauty of the Nations League.
the beauty
A
of the
triumph
Nations League.
once
Right.
again.
That is fair.
Again, Vish concedes that the Nations League is a good idea. We will have him won over by the end of the break.
I mean, just the fact that they're not getting battered week in, week out. And I suppose, the whole point of why it was brought in was so it would, as much as it was to add a bit of context to friendlies, as it were, to games outside of qualification for major tournaments. This is part of the reason it's there, so that they, pit teams of a similar level against each other, and that way they get more development, and it's more constructive to be playing these games. And they are. I don't want to speak this into the world because I wouldn't want to jinx it, but the qualifying will state that the best 4 Nations League group winners who do not finish first or second in their World Cup qualifying group will go to the playoffs.
Yeah. But, I mean, that is a bit generous, I'll be honest.
So, I mean, it's not... I mean, it is mad, but it is there for them.
Yeah.
It's the closest they've ever been.
Yeah,
Come on, the Sander and Ace.
Just toss a few games. What's one of those teams who like always Euros or
It gets there and does nothing.
Yeah, England. Well, just come on, sack it off.
Well, they're going to be in Group C, and that's a marvellous thing. Northern Ireland have been promoted to Nations League Group B after getting promoted. They just needed a result against Luxembourg. They were 2-0 up and cruising. They thought, this is boring. Let's concede a couple.
Make it difficult,
and
yeah.
let's hang on for a famous point.
The coach looked them all in the eyes like, remember who we are.
It's good for them, though, up to Group B.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are sort of remembering, we can't actually win football matches, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So
Win the popular vote. You can get in.
Would that be? Oh, now this would test people. Could it possibly be the first time in the Nations League history that all the UK sides would be in the top 2 tiers?
I mean, it's a long and moneyed history.
Should be a bank holiday, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Indeed, it should be something.
Yeah.
Why don't you just unite us? Just take on the world together, guys. Come on.
Been there, done that.
Come on. Craig Bellamy played.
Oh dear. So Northern Ireland, they're going to be in Nations League Group B. Well done to them. Now, the Unofficial World Champions is something that it's fair to say the football perverts love a bit of this, don't they? Don't they? On Monday, we asked who the heavyweight champions of the world are, and we settled on Argentina because we were going on the belts.
Right, okay.
We were going on, they got the World Cup belt, they got the Copa America belt.
Right.
Because we said, obviously, for European teams, you've got 3, you've got the Nations League as well. Spain hold 2 of the belts. You don't have a Nations League in South America, of course. Well, Dan on X has since been in touch to inform us that Algeria have been crowned unofficial Football World Champions this week. And I thought, blimey, who did they beat to get that? It's a bit like the Lineal Championship, or the Lineal Champion in Jack's Encyclopedia. They took it off Liberia, obviously, which is quite something. So if you're unfamiliar with this, the Unofficial World Championship is essentially tracking who is the current lineal champion of international football. Created in 2002 by a group of statisticians who defined the rules of the competition and ruled that England became the first unofficial football world champions when they beat Scotland way back in the 1800s.
Yeah,
okay?
so then whoever beat England, they
Exactly.
take the belt, and then whoever belt beats them, they get the belt.
Exactly.
And round and
Oh, I
round and
see.
round.
So
Yeah.
didn't the BBC do that one year? I don't know if they still do it. They would pick a team in the FA Cup in
Yes,
the first
and they'd
qualifying
follow
round,
it, yeah.
and you follow essentially the
Oh,
lineal
yes, right.
champion of their route.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, indeed, and obviously with club football that would be a lot more research heavy, whereas this is, you can do it. I mean, I don't know about you, I was a bit disappointed that England surrendered the belt so quickly.
So quickly,
I thought,
yeah.
Can we not have been
Yeah,
undefeated?
they had it
for-
taken off on a Monday Night Raw.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kane had it for a bit.
Yeah. So
I thought they were going to do... So there's another one where it basically resets every World Cup, and it's whoever beats that team.
Right.
yeah,
So
which
there
I
was-
get.
Well,
That
you
would
can
be,
have many different flavours.
Yeah,
can't you?
of course, yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Let's set up that friendly with Algeria.
Yeah, okay.
I think, yeah.
Celebrating like soccer aid at the end.
Money in the bank.
Yeah. So of
Cash
course,
it in at any point. Just go on the Algeria players' houses. Come on then, outside.
well, of course, the title is handed over when the holders are beaten in a full international fixture. A full international fixture. So Algeria, they are the champions. The title has changed 6 times since Argentina won it in 2022. So Argentina did have it. I think it was Croatia they took it from.
Okay.
And then Argentina, they lost to, was it Colombia? And then Colombia lost to...
So Argentina got it off Croatia, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, and
during
Uruguay
World
beat
Cup, they lost to Uruguay.
That's right, yeah.
Uruguay then lost to the Ivory Coast in March 2024. Ivory Coast lost to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone lost to Liberia, and then Liberia were beaten by Algeria.
They are. That's how quickly it can change hands, everybody.
And this is literally how football works in the minds of children.
All right. They're the future, mate.
Hey.
Yeah.
Speaking of children, did you see that Gianni Infantino's name has been engraved on the new Club World Cup trophy? Oh, my God.
Such a break.
Why?
Such a
Do you know what he should have done? Because you know what
not do that? Yeah,
well, yeah,
I agree.
No, but Pete, you know what it's like? If they do something like that, you think wanker. Whereas if he'd have made the trophy, like the sort of the bulbous bit of the trophy, his head,
his head,
big bulbous head.
with the lovely like eagle eyebrows.
Yeah, it's gone so far that you just have to just laugh
Wasn't
at it.
there a baddie in like the Thunderbirds that looked like?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And Infantino.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of in the American Office when Dwight gets Michael Scott, who's the boss, a jersey of his favourite hockey team, and he's really happy and he turns it around and the name and number is from Dwight.
It's like when somebody gifted me a Newcastle United top that they'd won at a match. He was a Ramble listener and gave me the a Newcastle top they'd won at a football match that had Kinnear on the back. It was when Joe Kinnear had his first match as Newcastle manager.
Oh, dear.
And my agent bought me once a massive extra large Newcastle shirt with Donaldson 31 on the back, which was my age at the time.
Yeah. That's aged badly, isn't it?
That's when I was making him a bit of money.
Have you? Yeah. I was going to say, I've not heard you talk about an agent for a while.
John Lawley.
Is that his
Nice
name?
bloke. I don't think he agents us anymore. Owing to the success.
Did you put him out of business?
Owing to the success of his clients, Pete Donaldson.
You held him retire.
I think I've retired 2 agents in my time. They just stopped doing it.
for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons, yeah. I'm the agent retirer.
You are.
He might be looking after Infantino for all you know.
Well, he's
That's
clearly
true.
doing very well.
You know when they talk about like meeting certain players or coaches on the way down and on the way up?
You only play Pete Donaldson twice. It's good to be back.
You only represent Pete Donaldson twice in your career.
Oh dear. All right, coming up after this, Swindon Town's training ground is apparently haunted.
Yes.
Before we get to Swindon Town, I think this is bigger news. Pep is staying at Manchester City. It's been reported by The Athletic that Pep Guardiola has signed a 1-year extension at the Citizens. The new contract will see him stay in charge until June 2026, with the option to extend until June 2027. And they've yet to confirm the news, Man City. The club refused to comment when Sky Sports asked them about the news. But Guillaume Balaguer's already ratified it.
Right, okay, nice.
A number of people already reported it, Andy. That's good enough for us, isn't it?
You know what this is like? This is like when Theo Walcott signed the Ting. That's what it's like because it's a sort of let's wait and see sort of contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny how people are leaping to put meaning in this. There really is no meaning to put in this at the moment because we don't know where Manchester City are going to be at the end of the season. And if the ship goes down, he ain't going to still be on it, is he? I think the other...
Better be ready.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to be your hype man for a bit.
You don't like them, do you?
What? That band?
Yeah.
The
Cypress Hill.
Cypress
Yeah.
Hill. Why don't I like Cypress Hill?
I don't know. I remember you complaining about them once.
I always complain about Cypress Hill, mate.
Everyone likes Cypress Hill.
Is it because they got double bubble for rap superstar and rock superstar?
I think that was it. I think that was it. Yeah.
That for it. Not
was
fair.
That was a bit much, wasn't it? I think the other interesting thing with Guardiola, depending on what happens here, is you know who's running for president of the Brazilian FA? Ronaldo phenomenal is running for president of You're going to love this.
Lovely warm jumper.
Who does he want as his coach?
Well, of course. That's what I mean. That's the thing. When we were talking about England, it was England or Brazil in my mind, because he'd already mentioned when he said about becoming an international coach, he said, I'd love to try for a World Cup or a Euros, or even he mentioned the Copa America. You don't do that unless you're thinking of one particular job, let's be honest.
Look, even if, let's say Manchester City are, for example, cleared of all charges, or, I mean, just putting it out there.
He needs to escape to South America.
They were found guilty on a lot of those charges and decided to embroil the authorities in some long-running legal action.
Yeah.
And Guardiola were to stay until 2026. I mean, potentially he could still take over Brazil before that, couldn't he? I know we're talking about a few
straight into the World Cup.
Imagine.
Bugger off.
Imagine.
But the thing about Guardiola is he loves resources, and he needs resources to do his job.
Yes.
And Brazil will throw everything at him.
Yep.
And they've got the footballing resources, haven't they? Really?
Yes.
And I think, but he is a romantic at heart.
Oh, he is.
Which is why one of my Dutch friends on the weekend still. It's not even hope. He thinks, he can see it playing out in his mind.
I see what you're
where Guardiola becomes Netherlands manager.
Right, yeah.
And maybe not necessarily like in this cycle of what we're talking about here during that period.
Wout Weghorst is still playing. Yeah, not necessarily in that period.
But basically, his thing was obviously because of the roots of Barcelona and whatnot. But also primarily because he looks at. He doesn't look at football in like what's your 23, 26-man squad. He kind of thinks of like the deeper history and like how he wants to play and his influences and spreading it that way.
There is the resources thing though that Pete did.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, but Brazil don't actually have the kind of players that Guardiola would. Right now, we're talking about, but it's not necessarily.
He would be able to get a tune out.
He'd have a good chance.
Let's be honest, lads. He will be managing Qatar. There's your romance.
Yeah, there it is,
Okay. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Man. But
Pep Guardiola was a massive Sean Gorter fan. That's why he joined Man City.
Yeah.
to be fair, probably unlikely Qatar. Maybe the United Arab Emirates. I should say.
Sorry. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, or Saudi, maybe.
Yeah.
The point is, this is a contract that gives him like a lot of options. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the aforementioned Gim Balaguer did say that Guardiola, after Man City, he thinks he will take an international job.
Yeah,
and he
seems
said
most likely.
And he said, and Balaguer obviously knows Guardiola well, and so on. Said that the front runners at the moment are England for that. Tuchel now we talked to the cows come home about England and succession plans or lack of succession plans or whatever. I fancy him. It's interesting that contract runs out basically just before the World Cup starts. Thomas Tuchel's remit is to win the World Cup for England. Well, he may well say, well, let's see what happens there. He may well fancy the Brazil job. But let's be honest, if Guardiola fancies a job, surely that everyone would make room for him, you would think, unless absolutely exceptional circumstances happen. Whoever Brazil have got, managing for, them come the World Cup, and it could change from now until then, of course. And that manager does a great job and they win it playing all the great football and so on, then perhaps not. But as I say, out with exceptional circumstances, because they were courting Ancelotti as well. They are open for a foreign manager. Which is unlike them, but because of their recent history in the World Cup, which has been by their own lofty standards, or by most big country standards, pretty poor showing, if we're honest.
And they've not got a especially good team at the moment.
Yeah, but they've got a side who could challenge, though, because if you look around, there's not many other great sides, is there, really? But anyway, let's not go too heavy on this. But
you know what's going to happen, as because of the timeline you put out there, Guardiola is going to become the England manager. And then Tuchel will move to the under-21s. They're going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's
brilliant.
Yeah. And Lee Carsley's going to go further down?
Further down,
yeah. Under 18.
He's going to have to start playing for the under-21s.
You see, the FA, genius is what it is. Well, Guardiola's staying at Man City, which is a huge boost for them and annoying for the rest of the Premier League, no doubt. Across at Manchester, Ruben Amorim has been taking his first training sessions at Manchester United. Are you excited, Vish?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited as all the... And I have a lot of empathy for this because I sometimes do it in my job, but when you don't really have anything to write about and you're like, oh, hello, photos from training, you say? But yeah, no, it is exciting. He looks very good in the tracksuit.
That is important.
I am excited to see how he goes, not least the weekend, and how that first starting lineup, is always an important one because it gives you a clue as to how the next few months might pan out.
Yeah, if these pictures are to be believed, there's a large metal man who's going to be featuring in a lot of the free kicks. So,
Yes.
They've got a solid defensive wall.
A bright yellow metal man is going to be playing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was very. It kind of reminded me a little bit of X-Men: Days of Future Past. With those blue on mutants.
And at times during games, there's a shoot on sight policy.
Yeah.
Everyone's shooting. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's we've all watched the Premier League long enough. We know that often the ball gets pinged from just behind the goal. You get one touch to control it, one touch to clear it.
Exactly. So they'll be top of the tree when it comes to that.
Everything's coming up Amorim.
In a nice bib.
A lovely bib. Did you see that fans are trying to work out his preferred lineup based on the little clips and so on? So people in social media going, this, that,
Someone was like,
Anthony at wing back.
No. It looks like Anthony's going to play through the middle. Good Lord.
Some Anthony at wing back though.
Yeah.
What would you prefer?
Hey, start your January.
I prefer him in the middle because it'd be like seeing a fish with one fin swim in a circle. Imagine just going in a big circle in the middle that gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
January's coming. You have to show the chairman that you have no players. That's what happens.
That is true.
But the other side
play
of
the
it,
juniors.
without Marcus, if you don't mind me bringing
I do.
important football to this week.
Unbelievable. Honestly, 1 minute you're making all kissy faces at UA for the Nations League, and then you do that.
I was making kissy faces at Infantino's bulbous head. Bulbous golden head. But there is a broader point that I don't think Manchester United are going to spend. Certainly not. In the near future for Amorim's needs. So he's got to make do with what he's got. So,
for some actual insight into Ruben Amorim, do listen to the latest edition of On the Continent, where Andy spoke to Portuguese football expert Miguel Pereira about Amorim and why he will be a success at Old Trafford. Elsewhere in the managerial merry-go-round, Coventry are still looking for a new manager, and it's been reported they're in advanced talks with Frankie Lampard. Apparently, Ruud van Nistelrooy is also a contender for the role. Ruud wants to stay here, doesn't he? He loves old England, and he wants a big job. What do you think of this, Andy? We spoke recently about Lampard, and I thought one day we'd make a decent sort of international manager.
Sometimes maybe Roma, sometimes maybe Coventry.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, what an interesting line of speculation that is.
Indeed, yeah. But I also was talking about Lampard, saying I'm quite intrigued how he really wants to make a fist of it being a manager, which is understandable. But when you think he could walk into any sort of job in terms of media in the world, he could live a much more stress-free life.
Yes,
make a fair few quid, have a lovely old time.
But it's an itch that he desperately needs to scratch.
Indeed, and he hasn't really had a fantastic time as a manager, but I admire the drive and the determination he has.
It's really interesting because there's nothing to suggest that he can be a good top-level head coach at all. But when you see him speaking about the game, he's so engaging, isn't he? So it's interesting comparing the approach of him and Gary Neville. So Gary Neville has a go. It's really difficult, and then thinks, right, that's me.
I mean, that was a mad situation.
But Lampard's been put in some impossible situations. Everton was an impossible situation.
Yeah, so the jobs he's had have been Chelsea.
And that goes to show that if you're trying to develop a career as a head coach, it's not just what you do in the job; it's what you give yourself the opportunity to do in the job. Of course. Therefore, the jobs you pick basically is a massive part of it. Like, think of Frank de Boer, who started brilliantly at Ajax and then a couple of bad choices, and he's the worst coach in the world. You know,
according to Jose Mourinho, anyway.
I reckon Lampard, just for the good of our show, wait out Lopetegui, go back to West Ham. Imagine.
Yeah,
but
why not?
As you sort of,
I can't imagine it, Vish.
Why not?
Paul Ince as his assistant as well. No.
I can't imagine that level of anger.
Paul Ince as his assistant in a Manchester United kit.
Lovely. I like that. Do you not think that Frank sort of arriving at your club just unlocks so many Chelsea loanees? Because that's how he kind of got through a lot of his previous
at Derby.
For Coventry, it's probably not that bad because Chelsea have just got a lot of players that need a bit of game time.
They do.
He also
lest you get rusty.
Yeah, I know. Well, sure, I would think Man United might send out Mason Mount on loan the way it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, they sent out Donny van der Beek. They, he got Dele Alli on loan. There's clearly
not to Coventry, not in the Championship.
But he has evidently contacts in the game, or certainly has a persuasive way of convincing these players to.
Oh, come on!
I don't know.
Please.
I think it would be an interesting appointment, and as I said before, I'd like Lampard. I'd just like to see a bit more what he can do at managerial level.
I think I've seen enough.
Okay. No, but seriously,
Give someone else a go.
Patrick Vieira, though, speaking of former Palace managers, as you just did with Mr. De Boer, set to become new manager of Genoa. He will be reunited with Mario Balotelli, who joined Genoa on a free only 3 weeks ago. But seemed like an unlikely reunion.
But Mario's absolutely over the moon about that, isn't he?
That's because he previously managed Balotelli, of course, at Nice, and you would say he was responsible for Balotelli leaving the club, wouldn't you?
Well, I think Balotelli was responsible for Balotelli leaving the club.
Okay.
But I know what you're meaning. He was presiding over it, and it was a decision he made.
I wish he would leave some clubs.
Yeah.
It's interesting because clearly Vieira knows how good he is. And Vieira also knows how annoying he can be. Well, the interesting run-up to this is the fact that Balotelli was set to sign for Genoa for a really long time. They needed someone to replace Matteo Retegui, the Italy striker who left for Atalanta. And Genoa wouldn't sign off on this deal because they're like, well, he's really the coach's choice. Alberto Gilardino, who was the predecessor, wanted him.
Legend, would you say, of Italian football?
Yeah, absolutely. Great striker. And... they were like, well, we don't want to sign Balotelli because he's Gilardino's choice and we might sack Gilardino. So finally, they decide that they will go ahead and sign Balotelli, and about a week and a half later, they sack Gilardino anyway. In the most Serie A move ever.
Yes. Whenever he gets a smooth Balotelli, he does get the matches, though. It's not like he's injured all the time, is he? He's just
But you know the talent's there. I mean, Vieira himself said
he's 34. It's not there anymore.
There's still a bit. Come on.
Still a bit.
If Noel Ranger's still scoring goals in the FA Cup, Balotelli can score goals in Serie A.
I think Pete's right. I think at this point we're talking about Soccer Aid level of talent.
Oh, come on, he's 34, he's not 44. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, but have you seen him play recently? Oh, my God.
I know, Andy.
Yeah, but he scored a banger, didn't he, for Italy once? And then he did a selfie when he was at Marseille.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Fireworks in the bath.
Why
you convinced me.
And all that business.
Yeah, I don't bring that up.
Yeah, Vieira said he's a lovely guy and I love him, but of course it was challenging to coach him at Nice because it was very frustrating to see so much talent wasted, which I think probably sums up a lot of the opinions on Mario Balotelli.
Vieira, incidentally, is now the first French coach to be head coach in 3 of the 3 different top 5 European leagues.
Is that right?
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Okay.
They are. Good stuff. And right, let's talk about Swindon Town and their haunted training ground. Ian Holloway took over as Swindon Town manager, of course, at the end of October. And the ghost hunter himself has suggested that Swindon's poor run of form is because their training ground is haunted. Is that throwing a bone to the previous manager? Or is that setting himself up for, is that excuses already?
Right, yeah.
You've just been battered 4-0. Haunted, though. The ghosts have done us. What can I do about this?
The metal men of Manchester here. Again.
What I love about Holloway is his turn of phrase. When asked and we were speaking about this supposed haunting, he said, "I'm absolutely devastated. I think our training ground is very close to an ancient burial site." He's devastated. Do you know there's a burial? I don't believe it.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
It's the one thing my genius brain can't get around. Well, he does have a plan though. He said that he won't take things as far as Barry Fry, who of course pissed in all the...
Neil Lennon should have thought that.
I don't think Neil Lennon was anything to do with haunted though.
No, but
I think it was haunting.
He did piss on the training ground, didn't he?
Yeah, again.
So he could have pretended that he was trying to dispel a voodoo.
Yeah, he obviously didn't think of that at the time.
I was trying to get rid of a voodoo.
He's Northern Irish.
I was trying to get rid of a voodoo.
Better. Much better. Thank you. Much better. Well done. Good recovery.
I forgot he's not Scottish.
So anyway, old Barry Fry, he pissed in every corner of the ground to get rid of whatever it was. I don't know if it worked or not, but Holloway said he's not going to do that. He said, but I'm going to get my wife to come up with her sage.
Is that an actual sage or just some sage?
I think some sage.
Right,
he said he went to
okay,
Glastonbury and he's done the whole whatever he described thing. He said, do I really...
What is going on?
He said, do I really... Let me finish. He said, do I really believe in this? No, but it can't really help, can it? Or, if it...
Can't really harm.
It can't really harm.
Okay.
He's got Phil's got so much confidence being like, Holloway's worked with so, great career, worked with so many players.
That's right.
What he's got to impart. And it's like, you're all fucked, it's haunted. Nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do.
I absolutely love it.
I mean,
I'm absolutely devastated.
Have any of you watched a video recently that said you had a week to live? Because we need to get some recourse.
It's like a marginal gains, though. I think they should
Marginal gains.
What did you do last summer? That's what I want to know.
I know.
It's just high ghost performance, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
it's just kind of like it's a bit of nonsense.
Well,
Bit of
I don't
fluff.
know. That's all it is. So hopefully Mrs. Holloway can sort it out. Otherwise...
Why is he pinning it on her?
She's to blame.
She's to blame.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Don't have a go at me, have a go at her.
Yeah.
Her sage is faulty. Our sage is faulty.
Again, if he's over there, he's incredibly entertaining, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I do stress if he's over there. Good old Holloway. Right, staying in the Football League for a brief moment. Have you seen that more American celebrities have been tipped as the next stars to invest in Football League clubs? We've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kim Kardashian.
So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has more money than...
Sense, presumably.
Well, than anyone, including Sense.
More money
How
than
much-
anyone.
I think he's close to a billionaire, isn't he? Oh, he must be a billionaire.
It's pretty minted.
Yeah. How much tax is he trying to get out of?
Yeah, exactly,
And how much tax can an EFL club, hold for him? I don't get it.
Most importantly, did ASAP Rocky hasn't got Tranmere over the line yet, has he?
No. But he's
yeah,
got,
that's
he's got
right.
young kids, he's looking after them and whatnot.
I just... Because they'd have to turn up if they went. Like, Kim Kardashian's not turning up at Swindon anytime soon, is she? Do you know what I mean? Imagine that would be a meeting.
You've got
of
to choose
minds.
a decent airfield for your
Bring your
private jet,
sage.
I suppose. Bring your sage.
But also, they say it's a lot to do with what Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are doing
Yes.
at Wrexham.
Yes.
It's not...
I know. Obviously, a lot of it is stage managed and whatever.
Sage managed.
Yes, a lot of it is stage managed. But even with it being stage managed, it does look like hard graft, and they are
but
actually
they get it.
throwing money into
Well,
it.
I think
I get it.
they
But
look like
it doesn't look that fun for people like Kim Kardashian and The Rock.
They don't
who don't
understand
need it in their life.
And also the Rock has a reputation of just doing weird shit.
Like pissing in bottles. Imagine if he goes to the
Pissing in-
game and he just pisses in bottles all game.
Yeah, unless he's turning those bottles over in the corner flags, I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. You sort of mention it like that. I think he's perfectly placed.
Right.
To,
Also, Kim
invest.
Kardashian's always at football, isn't she? I can imagine her getting into it.
I mean, obviously, it would be investing. Not there's no plans to be, the chair or of the club or be on the board. You would
Right.
think that basically here's a few
But
quid.
that's what the Sun will put in their stories.
Yeah.
The Rock owns this.
And let's be
going up.
honest. Again, what's good for us may not be good for your club.
He's having
Can
a
you
little.
smell what the Rock is cooking? It's a Balti pie.
He's having a little bit. Pete, you'll be aware of this. He's having a little bit of a reaction to his kind of general demeanour, isn't he? He's not. It's for the first time in a while. There's been quite a
Bit of a blowback, isn't there?
yeah, quite an unfavourable turn towards him.
Well, he's like most wrestlers, he's staunch Republican, and he sort of came out and again he did a couple of interviews about being anti-woke and all that kind of like just turd nonsense.
the guy in the Moana films.
Exactly. And so it is quite funny to see him getting a bit of blowback, and he doesn't sound like he's got the best reputation on set. But you're The Rock,
Yeah.
you're a billionaire,
Yeah.
turning up late.
Turning up late. Well, will he be welcomed down at a club in the Football League? Time might tell.
Yeah.
It might tell.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.